Hi, it's Janita from NailerBookPublishers.com. I wanted to come on and talk to you about my book, Step Out of the Shadows, Helping Widows Move Past Grief. Step Out of the Shadows was written to share my experience of grief and depression after losing my husband to cancer. It's also to encourage widows in their time of grief and to encourage them to move past grief. Once my husband died, society no longer saw me as a wife. I was now branded with the label of widow and everything that came along with it. And everything that came along with it was often negative. But sadly, this was now my new reality. I had joined a club that no one wants to join. And the grief of my loss was overwhelming as I commenced to grieving alone. The Bible tells us that there is a time and a season for everything under the heaven. A time to weep, a time to laugh, a time to mourn, and a time to dance. So I knew that my grief was normal and a part of the process. But the problem for me came in when I slipped over from grief into depression. That period of depression was a dark and scary place, and I was afraid of getting lost in the darkness. Because grief was normal, I used to tell myself, Janita, it's okay to be here, but you can't stay here long. I was giving myself permission to grieve and to take all the time I needed to go through the process. But I was afraid that if I didn't come out of it, I would get stuck in it. And I did not want to be stuck. I wanted to be free. I share and Step Out of the Shadows about feeling so alone in my grief, only to realize much later that I was never alone. God was there with me the whole time, even though I did not recognize it at the time. And this only speaks to who God is and that all of his promises are true. He told us that he would never leave us or forsake us. And God has never not honored his promise to us. So if you are a widow and you feel that you've been abandoned by society to grieve alone, take comfort in knowing that you are not alone. God is right there with you, even though you may not recognize it. He loves you, and you will make it through this. This year, 2024, is the 8th anniversary of Step Out of the Shadows. And in honor of the 8th anniversary, I have revised and expanded and updated the book. Since I first wrote the book and shared it with the world, I have received great feedback from both widows and non-widows alike, who are also blessed by the book. This book has been of great help to Christian counselors who are working with clients who are widows and going through the grieving process, and to grief support groups where people go to get support after the loss of a loved one. People have been inspired by this little book that packs a big punch. If you are a widow who is struggling with grief or a non-widow who wants to offer support to a grieving widow, pick up a copy of Step Out of the Shadows wherever you like to buy your books. Available in paperback and ebook. And I pray that you are comforted by this book.